The town of Hollow Creek had two defining features: a population barely above 400 in the thick, ancient woods that loomed just beyond the last row of houses. Everyone grew up knowing the same rule: never go into the woods after dark, especially if you hear the whistling. It was a slow September morning when Lauren Bell, a local high school senior, vanished. She had told her parents she was going for a quick hike to clear her head. She never came back. The sheriff's department organized a search party within hours. Volunteers combed through the woods with flashlights and walkie-talkies, calling Lauren's name. But no one found any trace except for her phone, discovered at the edge of Miller's Ravine, flashlight still on and camera app open. The last photo was blurry, taken just before sunset. It showed what looked like a man, or something like a man, crouched between two trees. His face was obscured by shadow, but something about his posture looked wrong, too hunched, too still. And around his head were strange lines, almost like motion trails. Like he was moving or shaking. Then came the sound reports. Search party members started mentioning a low, eerie whistle from deep within the forest. At first, they thought it was just the wind. But it had a pattern. For short notes, rising then falling, like a twisted lullaby. Some said it sounded human. Others swore it was not. By the third night, the search was called off. The town's elders muttered old warnings, words like woodsbound and marked by the tune. Most residents pretended not to know what they meant. Lauren's little brother, Jake, said he heard whistling outside his window the night she vanished. He swore it was trying to copy her voice. They didn't believe him. But he wasn't lying. Jake Bell hadn't slept since the night his sister vanished. He kept his curtains shut tight and wore headphones to drown out the sound he feared most, the whistling. But on the fifth night, he forgot to charge them. He awoke at 2:13 a.m. to a soft sound coming from outside his second-story window. For notes, low and trembling, rising and falling like a child's broken music box. The same eerie tune he'd heard the night Lauren disappeared. But this time, it was closer. His breath caught. He forced himself to look. There, beyond the glass, was a silhouette, a tall, thin figure standing just beyond the reach of the porch light. It was unnaturally still, arms hanging too low, head tilted too far sideways. Its mouth, if it even had one, was puckered. Whistling. Then it spoke. Jayuki. The voice was wrong. It sounded like Lauren, but drawn out, choked. Like someone had copied her voice from a voicemail and stretched it into something inhuman. Jake backed away from the window, but the voice came again, louder. Open the window. He screamed. His parents rushed in, but when they turned on the light and checked, the figure was gone. The window, though, had foggy handprints on the inside. Jake refused to sleep in his room after that. The town pastor came the next day. After hearing Jake's story, his face turned pale. It whistles to mark you, he whispered. And then it learns your voice. Jake was now marked. And it wasn't done with him yet. The Bell family begged for answers. Pastor Dalton met them in secret and brought a worn leather book bound in cracked bark and smelling of damp moss. The whistler, he said, is older than this town. Older than the trees. It takes one voice, and learns to make it many. He explained that those marked by the whistler begin to hear it more often, even during the day. It mimics loved ones. Friends. Dead people. And once you respond to its call, especially if you answer it by voice, it comes closer. It doesn't come for you right away, Dalton said. It waits until you forget it's there. The book had crude sketches of tall, faceless figures in the woods, always drawn near missing people. A recurring symbol, 3 vertical slashes, was etched in every entry. Dalton called it the mark of listening. Jake had seen those slashes too. On Lauren's bedroom door. scratched into the wood. It wasn't a prank. It was an invitation. And she had answered. Jake's father, desperate to protect his family, set up motion sensor cameras around the house. But that night, at 3:07 a.m., every single one went dead. Not offline, just dark. Then the smell hit. Rotting leaves and wet stone. It seeped into the house, strong enough to wake Jake. He peeked out the window and saw the backyard shed door creaking open, though it had been padlocked for years. He called for his dad. They went outside together, flashlights trembling. The lock lay on the ground, twisted like soft metal. Inside the shed, old tools were scattered, but in the center was something horrifying, Lauren's hiking boots, caked in dried mud and black hair. Next to them, the 3 slashes. Jake's dad called the sheriff. But by the time they arrived, the boots were gone. All that remained was the smell and a soft whistle coming from deep in the trees. The sheriff turned pale and left without a word. Lauren wasn't the only one. Over the next week, 2 more teens went missing. Their last phone videos captured the same thing: blurry figures in the woods, a rising whistle, and terrified voices calling for help. Hollow Creek started to fall apart. Stores closed early. Families packed up and left. But Jake knew running wouldn't help. The Whistler didn't chase people. It called them. And if you answered, it owned your voice. One night, Jake's mom was woken by what she swore was Lauren sobbing outside. She opened the door. Jake tackled her just in time. From the trees, the crying stopped and turned into laughter. Gurgling, wet, raw laughter. She never opened the door again. Jake found an old tape recorder in the pastor's belongings, labeled "Don't Play Near Woods." He played it anyway. It was a scratchy audio file. A man whispering a prayer, then the whistle, clear as a bell, and then the man's voice again, this time terrified, repeating, "It's me now. It's not letting go." The pastor had disappeared in 1987. The recording was proof he was still out there, or at least, his voice was. Jake realized the Whistler wasn't killing people. It was collecting them. And it was almost full. Jake made a decision. He was going in. Armed with nothing but a flashlight, Lauren's last photo, and the pastor's book, he stepped into Miller's Ravine at dusk. The woods were too quiet. No birds. No wind. Just soft leaves underfoot. And then, the whistle. Clear. Close. It lured him deeper until the trees seemed to bend around him. Time stretched. He checked his watch, it had stopped. Then he saw her. Lauren, sitting against a tree, eyes wide, lips moving silently. "Lauren," he shouted. She looked up and whistled. It wasn't her. Lauren stood up, but her movements were jagged, like someone learning to walk. Her mouth opened, and every voice Jake had ever known came pouring out. His mother. His sister. The pastor. The sheriff. Then, his own voice, Jake. 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 The air grew cold. Trees seemed to lean in. Behind Lauren, no, behind the thing wearing her, the Whistler finally stepped out. Tall. Boneless. Its face was a twisting mass of mouths. All whispering, laughing, calling. It pointed at Jake. He ran. Jake tripped and fell into a pit covered by leaves and branches. He landed in a dark burrow, walls covered in bark and bone. There were dozens of discarded phones, cameras, shoes, and recordings, all playing on loops. Whistles, screams, pleas for help. Then one tape clicked on by itself. "Help me, Jake," it said. Lauren's real voice. He followed the sound to a tunnel and found her. The real Lauren, thin, pale, ice hollow, but alive. Barely. They don't kill us, she whispered. They keep us. Until we forget our own voices. Jake helped Lauren up. Together, they limped through the tunnel, the whistler's calls growing louder behind them. The final stretch was a nightmare. The creature screamed in hundreds of voices, "Jake, come back. Jake, stay." He ignored it. They burst through the tree line just as the sun rose. The woods behind them fell silent. No whistle. Jake turned to Lauren. She was crying. She was free. But Jake wasn't. That night, as he lay in bed, he heard a whisper in his own voice. Open the window. He had made it out. But the whistler had taken something with it. His voice. And now it wanted more.